Hey everyone, welcome back to Foley Systems. Today we're going to be diving into the basics of Cisco Command Line Interface, or the CLI. If you've ever wondered how to navigate the CLI and perform basic configurations, this video is for you. Whether you just started out or need a quick refresher, I got you covered. Let's get started. First, let's talk about accessing the CLI. You can connect to a Cisco device using a console cable and a terminal emulator like PuTTY, which is the most popular, or Mobile Xterm. If you're working remotely, you can use SSH, but for this video, we'll stick to a direct console connection. So once you get connected to your correct POM, you'd be prompted with a greater than symbol. This signifies that you are a user exec, which means you have limited command line access. So the user exec mode, this is default when you log in. It's represented by, of course, the greater than symbol. You can run basic commands like ping or traceroute. The next one we got is privilege exec mode. To move here, you have to type enable. You'll press enter. You'll see the prompt change with a pound sign. Now, you have access to all operational commands. Let's move on to the next layer, which is global configuration mode. This is where you make changes to the device. To access global config mode, you'll have to type in configure terminal. And the prompt will change with config within the parentheses and a pound sign at the end. This lets you know that you're in global configuration mode. There are also sub configuration modes like interface mode, which will be greeted by typing interface. Which you will type in interface, the interface you want to configure. Once you press enter, you'll be greeted with config if. If stands for interface. You can configure specific interfaces. You can also configure a range of interfaces. But for this video, we're going to stick to the basic configuration or the basic navigation of Cisco CLI. You can type in end to leave global configuration mode. Let's say this is my first time ever using a Cisco device. What commands are available to me as a privileged executive user? To find out, you do show, hold your shift key, question mark. This will give you a list of everything it could show you. So the show command allows us to see anything you would like to access. Let's say an interface. It'll show us the statistics of interface, the IP address, how many packets have been dropped, how many packets went through, etc. You can also see system information like CPU temperature, fan speeds, power draw. You can see your licensing information. You can even see your running config. But this is just a list of available things you can use with show. You can press a space bar to continue giving you a list out, or press any key on the keyboard to leave the showing command or question mark command. You can use the tab to autocomplete commands for you. So let's say we start typing show command. So SH, if I don't feel like typing it completely. You press the tab key, it will autocomplete that command for you if it's valid. For instance, if we say conf to access the global configuration mode, you can press tab, it will say configure. Cisco has made it very, very simple to configure their devices, which is a nice feature in case you don't want to shorten a command. You just want to see the full command and understand how it works, but you don't want to type it fully out. The tab key comes in hand. So to exit out of privilege exec mode, you could type in exit, and it'll throw us back down to user exec mode. Of course, you could type in enable, or as we found out, just type in en, press tab, enable. Now we're back to privilege exec. Now, if you ever get stuck, let's say for instance, we accidentally type in some gibberish, ABCD, and you get stuck to where it's either searching for the host name or you get something similar to me. You hold Control Shift, press 6 on the keyboard, or Control C or Control Z. Now, Cisco devices, it's supposed to be Shift, Control 6. For my instance, I guess my router's being a little stubborn. I must have really confused it somehow. I love Cisco devices sometimes. There we go, got it on froze. Let's put this in full screen so that way it's easier for you guys to see. So I'm going to show you some basic commands to know. So type in show version. This displays details about the device like the software version and uptime. As we can currently see, the router's been up for only 13 minutes. It shows you your current license. Next one is we're going to do is show all summaries or summarizes all the interfaces and their IP addresses. To do this, we do show IP interface brief. It'll show you the device's current IP address, if the port is okay, the status, which is down, and a protocol, which is also down. Administratively down means you typed no shut, so the port has a no shut command on it, meaning it's not going to activate, while regular down status means the port's not connected. Now, saving configurations is critical. So 2 commands we'll use is write memory, which basically this will take our running configuration file and save it to our stub config. Another command we use, which is always the safest command to use, that way we know it works for certainty, is type in copy running config to our startup config. Press enter. It's going to ask if your destination file name should be startup config, which in this instance is yes. Press enter. It's going to build that configuration and then save it. Now, to configure interface, we're going to go in global configuration. So type in configure terminal. And for this instance, we're going to do interface GI. You press the question mark, which will lead to gigabit Ethernet. You don't have to type the full command. If you abbreviate it and it shows just one single available command, which is gigabit Ethernet, then we could just leave it shortened, which just will save you a lot of time. You don't have to type the full interface. You could just type in int and then your interface you want to configure. But for this instance, we're going to configure interface 000. Some routers, it would either be 0/0. It could be fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet, and then 10 gigabit Ethernet. Press enter. Then we're going to give a description to this interface. So to give a description, we're going to type description, and we'll just say this is the uplink port. You press enter. it will now write that underneath the running config. Type in end, copy, or run to our start. Press enter to let it build. Now we're going to verify it put it under the running config. So we could type in show running config. You can press enter. It will build the current running config. As we could see, it currently saved the description as uplink port to our gigabit interface. Now, here's a few tips I do recommend. Always keep a cheat sheet handy with common commands. Use the exclamation point to add comments in your configurations. Show history will show you a list of recent commands. So if we type that in, it will show us all the commands we have inputted. And don't forget to save your configurations before logging off the device. That's it for today's video on Cisco CLI Basics. I hope you find this guide helpful and helps you feel more confident navigating the command line. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe for more networking tips and trouble tutorials. Got questions or ideas for future videos? Drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.